I'm not gonna lie. I'm not woke yet. I'm not woke yet. We're almost there though. I probably just need to drink a little bit more of my cold coffee. What's going on, Tim? Do you support Trump?
Yes.
All right, Tim, before we hop into a discussion, I'm going to go ahead and thank Nicole for the $10 donation over on PayPal. Nicole says, "Thank you for everything that you do. My MAGA parents are slowly shifting because of your debates." Dude, Nicole, that is awesome. In fact, I even saw a post on X last night where somebody said that they got their Trump supporting mom to watch my stream, and then it showed a screenshot of a text where the mom was like, "I really like this guy. He's smart. I'm going to continue to watch him." But, anyways, give me a second, Tim. I'm just going to go live over on YouTube. So, if you would just give me a second, that'd be great.
Okay.
Hello and welcome in for everybody watching over on YouTube. It is so good to have each and every single one of you guys in the live with me here today. We're going to go ahead and hop straight into our debates with over 100 Trump supporters, and we have the first Trump supporter up on the live right now, Mr. Tim. Mr. Tim, I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to you, and I would love for you to tell us all why you are MAGA, why you support the current administration, and you think they're doing a good job.
I support him. Well, the first reason is for his open border policy.
Do you mean closed border policy?
No, open borders.
You support Donald Trump because of his open border policy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, expand on that a little bit, Tim. This is a new one.
Well, because he is opening borders for our exporters to be able to trade our goods in their countries when otherwise they wouldn't be able to.
Oh, he's like opening barriers to trade so American companies can export more.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Well, as it relates to his tariffs on China, that's not true. Every time we've increased tariffs on China, our own exports have gone down. In fact, there hasn't been one time where we've increased tariffs on China where U.S. agricultural exports have gone any direction but into the shitter. Now, as it relates to other countries that he's implemented tariffs on and has negotiated trade agreements with, or may do so to a higher degree in the future, you're actually right. All right. Other countries' tariffs on us do slightly reduce our own exports. That's true.
So, do you think it's a good idea to be as reliant on China as we are right now?
Well, I don't even know what you mean by reliant on China. I think that we're all kind of reliant on each other as it relates to global commerce. And overwhelmingly, I think that is a good thing.
Well, they are a threat to our economic number one place in the world, like our economic dominance and sphere of influence.
I know, especially right now, because Donald Trump has isolated us from every other country on earth. And that's when China gets to then say, "Hey guys, guess what? I'm the new America. I'm the new dominator of global commerce. I'm the new leader. Come to me for all the needs that you need filled because the US doesn't want you."
No, because if we're just going to sit by, they're growing at a faster rate than we are.
Oh, that's not true.
It totally is true.
How much do you want to bet, Tim?
$100.
Okay, well, I just made $100. I want you to go to Google, type in China GDP. Their GDP's actually gone down in the last 3 years.
Bro, they're growing at a 5% rate, and we're growing at like a 2% rate.
No, that's not true at all. Once again, I'll just give you. Would you like the statistics? So for instance, once again, I just went to Google and I typed in China GDP. So their GDP in 2021 was $17.82 trillion. Their GDP in 2023 was $17.79 trillion. Their GDP has gone down, and you owe me $100.
No, that's not true. I'm Googling mine right now.
Great. I mean, prove it to yourself. Anybody could do it. You just go to Google, you type in China GDP.
Oh my gosh. That is silly.
It is true though. Their economies was hit really hard by the pandemic, and they still haven't really recovered.
As it says, China GDP growth had a 5.2% annual change.
Okay, so
It grew by 5%.
what are the years there?
It says 2023. And the United States grew at 2.9%.
So no, from 2022 into 2023, their GDP was 17.88 trillion in 2022 to 17.79 trillion in 2023. Unironically, if anybody watching this live has a second device, please open your second device, go to Google, type in China GDP, and you will see that the data that I'm providing to you is accurate. I don't know, why you're doing this, Tim.
Doing what?
Lying.
I'm not
The
lying.
change in the Chinese GDP between 2022 and 2023 was like what? Um, like it lost $900 billion.
I mean, there's a line graph that shows that they have been growing at a much faster rate than us every single year.
No, in fact, the line graph shows otherwise. Once again, when you look up China GDP on Google, it automatically compares it to the GDP of Japan and the
Yeah.
United States for whatever reason. And you'll
Yeah.
see that the GDP of the United States is
So
up and
what
the
did you Google? Because
GDP of China is stagnant.
I googled China GDP growth. What
Yeah,
did you Google?
China GDP. But if I mean,
I mean, I'll try China GDP.
thanks, man.
All right.
Huh, you know what? You're right. When you look up China GDP growth rate, it does show that they had a growth rate of 5.2% in 2023. I wonder why they would say that. So Google's actually reporting competing statistics. So I'm not even.
Yeah, I'm
I'm,
looking at yours and
yeah,
I see what you're saying too.
yeah. I know. What the fuck is going on with Google, dude? Okay, all right. You no longer owe me $100. I'll give you that one because like Google's reporting contradictory information.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah, funny. I wonder what that's relating to. Never mind. I won't pressure you into paying up.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder why the hell that is like that.
Anyways, continue to make an argument.
Yeah.
How is that?
But anyway,
What the fuck? Wait, I'm so curious. Um, I don't know how to explain that. And like the part that makes it weirder is like I'm thinking like maybe that the reported statistic of that 5.2% change is from 2023 to 2024. But even then, if you then hover over 2022, it says 3%. But then the GDP I know went down between 2021 and 2022 and 2022 to 2023. So actually, I think it's possible that that's negative GDP growth. Like just it's a change, but a change doesn't necessarily imply a positive rate of change. That could be a negative rate of change. Like here, let me just do the math real quick to see what the percent difference is between 1.88 trillion and 17.79 trillion. Let me see. Everyone just go ahead and just give us a second while we're doing
yeah,
math over here because it doesn't say
right.
anything about positive change. Well, no, because the difference between 17.88 trillion and 17.79 trillion is like right around 1%. So I don't even know where like the rate of change figures are coming from.
Yeah.
I mean, all that I know is that like their GDP went down insofar as the reported figures, but weird, complex discrepancies between the data reported from Google. But anyways, yeah. Do you have another argument that you want to make? I don't mind just completely ignoring that since we both found reliable sources for competing data
Yeah.
that we probably don't have like sufficient information to correctly interpret.
Sure. And I just think that like I feel like Trump was the first president in his first term that really like stood up to China, and I think Biden kind of, I think bipartisan, it was kind of agreed that like, hey, this is actually a good thing because China is rising. They're going to have a sphere of influence that will be unmatched if we don't do anything about it because they are the world's factory. And their style of government and their influence can be kind of threatening. Like, you guys think Trump is authoritarian? Like, look at the Chinese Communist Party. Like, they will make you disappear just for dissenting the government, even if you're a citizen of the country.
Okay, so you just like how like hard he. Okay, well here's actually the thing. So I disagree with tariffs, including tariffs on China, because I think that they hurt America. But I would like to say here that even Kamala Harris and Biden they kept the tariffs on China, so they both had similar policy. So because they had similar policy as it relates to tariffs on China, well, then I think that we should like reevaluate via other issues. Not to mention that Donald Trump has incessantly increased his tariffs on China. Now we're at a point where we have like 245% tariffs on them, which makes me think that he's continually increasing them, so he could eventually get them to fold, and he will fold, which inevitably means that there will possibly be more free trade between America and China.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it's just so much remains to be seen. I think this is going to be a something that lasts on for at least a few more months, if not a year or so.
Well, I mean, think about it. Why does he keep increasing the tariffs on China? I mean, he told us
Because
why.
this is because we're in like a full-fledged trade war.
And wait, could we at least agree that his goal was to impose tariffs on other countries to get them to reduce their tariffs on us, and if they reduce their tariffs on us, we'll drop our tariffs on them?
Yes, but
So
it's not
inevitably,
just tariffs.
so inevitably, what's going to happen is likely China's going to fold, and we're going to enter into a trade agreement with China where we both have low tariffs on each other. This doesn't really sound like this is conducive towards the goals that you're describing.
What do you think my goals that I'm describing are?
Yeah, like a lack of reliance on goods imported from China. But if we inevitably achieve a good trade deal with China, if anything, there'd be less barrier to trade. Meaning, under your view, there'd be more reliance.
Yeah, it's and like Trump's the guy who doesn't he in my opinion he doesn't show his whole cards. Like he does he's doing one thing, saying one thing, but in his head he's planning to do something else. So I think it's a double levered situation where we're trying to get anything that can be cheaply made. Maybe we go to somebody who's more of an ally like India. And like they already talked about how they're doing trade agreements with India today. I saw something about on that. Or if something can be made with robotics and AI, like we could
Wait,
do that in
so
America.
I don't understand. So are you basically saying that just art of the deal, 60 chess? He's a genius. He's gonna figure it out and do something good. In the most polite way I can say this, that is just cope. Okay. So I was just able to detail exactly how what Donald Trump has done to China so far actually contradicts the goals that you want to achieve, because seemingly he's terrifying the fuck out of them until they fold and we achieve a trade agreement with a country that would reduce barrier to trade, and we're able to have like more trade between the countries, which would be, as you define, more reliance on China, which is bad for a lack of a reliance on the country as you described. So I don't really see your argument here. Why do you think Trump is a good president? Because right now, seemingly Trump wants to make trade between America and China easier in the long term.
I think he's trying to incentivize companies that can get out of there to get out of there. But
No,
also,
I don't think he is, because he's willing to let go of the tariffs he has on them. The same way he's willing to let go of the tariffs he has on any country that is willing to negotiate with him, which means that the tariffs are not permanent and confidently there to stay, which means that these producers in China or any other country have no incentive to start spending billions of dollars and spend 3 to 6 years to make manufacturing plants here, because we know that the tariffs will not be in existence in the long term.
it's possible, but I
No,
think
it's not possible. That's what is likely given all the information we have. He's already paused tariffs on other countries, and he's straight up said that if you
yes,
don't retaliate, you will be rewarded, and we will take our tariffs
China's the
off
real
you.
target
It's
of
not.
these tariffs.
It's not possible. It's what is stated, and that's also not true. Every other country on earth is the target of these tariffs.
No, there's a reason why China is singled out right now, and
It's
everybody else.
because they retaliated.
Okay, but the European Union, the Canada, they retaliated.
Yeah, they did. Don't ask me. You're right. Oh, wow. There's a contradiction in my view. Seemingly, I actually have no clue why he kept tariffs on China and paused them on every other country. And because Donald Trump is just such a mess and has no clue what he's doing. You got me.
No, he's trying to get us from being over reliant on China.
Wait,
Like,
no, that's literally not true in accordance with his goals. If he wanted us to be less reliant on to try to force their hand into going into a trade agreement with us.
well, I mean, the trade agreement that they would have to make would have to be one that we would win overwhelmingly. So that would be the only way that he's going to make
What
a
does that
deal.
look like? What do you mean we would win overwhelmingly? What does that mean?
Well, it means that it's something that would slow down their growth to a point that where they no longer look like they're going to overtake us as the global economic power.
Wait, trade agreements don't slow GDP growth, they expedite it.
That's why we would have to win. like overwhelmingly is what I'm saying. Like
Wait,
they have a lot of barriers.
what do you mean? No, anybody that enters into a trade agreement that reduces barrier to trade has a more productive economy, and that's a fact.
Yeah, and maybe what
So
I'm saying,
it's not. I
what
think
is,
it's impossible for a trade agreement to slow GDP growth.
but what I'm saying is work with me here is maybe the tariffs on China aren't temporary.
So okay. So you're saying that he's going to permanently keep 245% tariffs on China. Well, that fucks us so hard because then China will permanently keep 245% tariffs on us. Our soybean farmers, goodbye. Our small businesses that are either reliant on products or raw materials from China, the third largest economy in the world. Goodbye, small parcels being shipped from Hong Kong. Goodbye, our GDP growth in the shitter. We're heading towards a recession. It is absolutely fucked. It fucks us over. It reduces our GDP growth, and it's really bad for our country. And by the way, the Federal Reserve agrees with me and disagrees with you. The chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, straight up said everything I'm saying right now on a hot mic yesterday.
Sure, and yeah, war is never going to be good for anybody's economy. But I think we have gotten to a point in our history where
The galaxy.
where we are kind of spoiled. Like, thank God there's nuclear weapons out there today because now we're not having to do actual wars with a country like China.
How does any of this relate? How does any of this relate to my point?
It relates to
I'm saying if the tariffs that he's imposing on China are being used to achieve a trade agreement, then ultimately speaking, there's going to be more trade between America and China. And if they're there in the long term, they really fuck us over. They hurt so many Americans. And then your response to this was to talk about war? What?
yeah, because this is this is the new version of war. Like,
So
we just have to like cut down our spending. Maybe we don't go out to eat 4 times a month. We only go out to eat twice a month. Like, this is us in a full-fledged war right now with China.
No
Yeah.
way. No way you're reiterating this. Oh my God. Dude, I swear to, you know what, Tim? Keep it up. You know what, Tim? I'm not even going to debate you on this. I want you to keep it up. I want you to continue to use this rhetoric and tell everybody to own nothing and be happy. And this is going to blow over
Just
great.
be thankful you're not
Republicans in the
going over to
midterms.
China in a boat with assault rifles. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
exactly. Keep this rhetoric up. Say, oh, nothing. Be happy. Be thankful you're not shooting people with guns overseas. I want you to keep on using that rhetoric. It's going to be huge for MAGA in midterms. I'm not even going to debate that rhetoric because of how true it is and how much I just want you to continue to reiterate that. That's right. You heard it here first, folks. Own nothing. Be happy. Okay, cut down on your spending. You don't need that new iPad. You don't need that new iPhone. You don't need to eat out. Okay, and just be thankful that you're not on a ship overseas shooting people with ARs. Just own nothing. Be happy, guys.
Well, I mean, you yourself are responsible for your own success. If you're blaming it on a president why you're not successful, that is your own problem, in my opinion.
So I think that it's the role of our government to enable us to have the most productive environment that's conducive towards the highest level of success. And I absolutely do think it is okay for us to say that our government is not creating that environment and is actually restricting our likelihood of further success by making it harder for us to live.
Let me ask you a question. Do you understand why our education system doesn't really match up with a lot of the other Western world countries?
I'm sorry, that's just a complete pivot. I want to stay on top.
No, I'm going to tell you why. And it's because we're so focused on our 2 and 4 year elections that the politicians, they don't want to invest in something that they're not going to see the returns on 10, 12 years down the road. And that's what I feel like the left is doing with this China situation. It's like, oh, it's going to hurt our country for the next couple years. But really, Trump is looking down the line 10, 15 years from now when China is going to overtake us, and communism and that type of government style is going to be spreading all in left-wing authoritarianism is going to be spreading all over the globe, and they're going to take away the value of the dollar, and America is going to crumble slowly but surely, and Trump is standing up for our values.
Okay, so first and foremost, you have no clue what communism is. Second of all, the only authoritarian government that I'm personally aware of You know what? Never mind. There's a couple authoritarian governments, but I'd say
like the Chinese
the only
Communist Party.
authoritarian government that directly negatively impacts you and me and every other American is the one in which we're under right fucking now. I mean, our president today is ignoring the Supreme Court. Our president today is calling for the termination of the Constitution, saying that he wants to serve a third term. He's disappearing people and human trafficking innocent migrants to kill cells in El Salvador.
No.
The only authoritarian regime that serves as an immediate threat to Americans is the American government.
Everything you said just now was false. Like,
No, that's not true. Everything
yeah,
I
he's
said
not
was
an
true.
innocent migrant. He came here illegally. He's beat up his wife on multiple times. His wife filed for a protection order. He's getting arrested with MS-13 members, wearing MS-13 gear. And then a confidential informant who is reliable said his exact ranking in the MS-13 gang. He was denied bond on 2 occasions for the accusations of being an MS-13 member.
So wait, I just want to clarify. Didn't like the wife put out a statement about how she wants his return, and she filed that police report? But they were like able to work it out domestically with the use of therapists. Now, like, of course, I don't want to undermine men harming women. I think that is like incredibly important to point out that on another hand, I'd say if you think that men that do bad things to women are not innocent and deserve to be disappeared to kill cells in El Salvador, well, how come you voted for a rapist?
Well, I don't know about him being a rapist, but
Say rapist. The only reason I said it the way I did was for like full effect because I want it to be understood exact. I hate censoring that word. I hate censoring that word so much because anyways, different subject. I'm sorry. I'm going on a rant. How come the fuck you voted? How come you voted for the rapists if you like to disappear men that are bad to women?
well, look, I don't like Trump personally, like as a person, but I think that his methods for protecting our country are better than the methods that Kamala had for protecting our country.
Oh,
and
was
just
his idea
letting
of
China
protecting?
rise.
What was his idea of protecting our country? To disobey civil rights, liberties, and freedoms, throw due process out the window, call our media illegal, and then willingly and intentionally let violent offenders that beat up cops on January 6th out of jail to roam free on our streets, calling them patriots?
Hey, I don't agree with the January 6th pardons of the violent criminals.
Yeah.
Like,
And another way to protect our country was to advocate for economic policy
But
that you
I
admitted
do agree.
redistributes wealth from the poor to the rich when most violent crime is consequential of poverty. And when we redistribute wealth from the poor to the rich, it increases poverty, meaning it increases violent crime, right?
wait, hold on. So making our country safe, I'm talking about is going after the cartels who are killing more Americans than anything. The F substance is the number one killer of adult American adults, and you have to go after these cartels who are doing this.
Wait,
And you have to,
I have a question. What do we have more control over? Like the ground and people on the ground of Mexico, or the ground and people on the ground of the U.S. southern border that are coming into our country?
the U.S. southern border.
Okay, so because we have more control over the border than Mexico, we should be focusing most of our attention on better border policy to reduce the inflow of DRUGS, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, well, 85% of those things are trafficked by citizens across the southern border. Name one time Donald Trump has ever stood at a mic on a podium and said that he wants to, pass better legislation to be more restrictive of citizens crossing our southern border.
He's increasing the funding going to the border, which allows for more technology to help with the security. And he
But
has something.
I just want to know about one time specifically where he's pointed
That
out
is his
that
policy.
85% of the DRUGS that come into our country are trafficked by citizens. He has
Yes.
never done anything. He's never spoken into a mic and spoken about that fact. Name one time where he straight up spoke about U.S. citizens coming into this country across our southern border with substances, when that accounts for 85% of the people that do.
Yes, because everybody knows the cartels.
So you're saying, yes, he's done that. Give me an example. I want you to literally give me an example of Donald Trump acknowledging that, and even just like virtue signaling about him wanting to do something about it.
It's the results of what he's doing. You have
So
to.
I want to clarify. We could agree that he's never once spoke about the citizens bringing DRUGS into America, right?
I don't know if he has.
He hasn't. He hasn't. That's a thing. He
But
focuses all of his
his
attention, energy, and
policy and
effort
his effect
onto
is
undermining undocumented migrants and calling them villains, dehumanizing them, telling Americans they should be scared of undocumented migrants, while passing no long-term policy to make the means of entry into America either safer or more restrictive upon citizens that may or may not.
policy out of all. The border patrol is spread so thin when you have a weak Democratic president who virtue signals that we have pretty much have open borders, and when there's 7 million encounters at the southwestern border over 4 years, what do you think the border patrol is so busy doing? Chasing after all these people who are running across fields and fences, trying to track them down, instead of being able to focus on the citizens that are going right through the ports of entry, who the cartels are being used. They use those citizens to mule in things because they know that's the best way to circuit.
Now you're contradicting yourself. Didn't you just say that Donald Trump is focusing on the citizens coming across the border by funding Border Patrol more?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the year 2024, under the Biden-Harris administration, we funded CBP and ICE more money than we have ever in American history to be restrictive of DRUGS coming across their southern border and for their operations as a whole. But you'll never talk about that. If you think the end game
You're
of
right.
Trump is just to fund more money to Border Patrol and that is his solution to a lot of problems, well, then explain to me why you just went on a rant for 5 minutes explaining to me why you think Biden and Harris are so bad when they funded Border Patrol more than anybody ever.
Because 2024, by that time, you'd already screwed this whole situation up, and it's too late. You already let 5 million people pretty much come to the border who think they can just come across here like with no repercussions whatsoever. Like,
oh, wait, so you said that the Biden-Harris administration...
This should have been policy from 2021.
You said that the Biden-Harris administration screwed things up at the border. Name one bad border policy they passed. Name one thing they did to the border that was bad.
It's the virtue signaling of how weak and how they can just claim asylum
so they didn't
and get
actually,
a court date and then roam free.
So they actually didn't do anything. It's the fact that their rhetoric was bad, but their policy wasn't bad, right?
It's 3 words: peace through strength. And that is exactly why Trump's
don't pivot. Don't pivot. I want you to name. Yes, you are, because I asked you to specifically name
people
one
are scared
policy
of Trump.
that the Biden-Harris administration passed that was bad for immigration. I think that Kamala Harris was significantly better than Donald Trump for immigration.
Too weak. Nobody respects them. From other countries, they're not scared of them. They're scared of Trump. They're scared to get shipped off to a prison in El Salvador. It's called a deterrent.
Right. I don't think that scaring migrants is a good thing. I think that scaring migrants is a bad thing. I think
illegal
that
migrants.
I think that deterring individuals from wanting to come to our country by saying that we could fucking disappear you to an El Salvadorian kill cell, then forget about you, even if the Supreme Court rules that we got to get you back, is indicative of a very scary dystopian reality where we don't treat humans like humans. I would say the reason why Kamala Harris was a significantly better presidential candidate than Donald Trump, even for immigration, was because she was focused on long-term, proactive solutions that aren't just good for the migrants, but also good for this country. Like, even if we want to reference the undocumented migrants that are already in America, they only help this country. $100 billion in taxes are paid by undocumented migrants per year. Trillions of dollars in an estimated, projected, and current GDP growth at the hands of their labor and the funding they receive from their employers by working on ITINs. That benefits our economy. It strengthens American manufacturing. It increases the size of the labor force. And I think it's so funny that you're pro-American as it relates to Donald Trump's tariffs, so we could be a more globally dominant force insofar as our productive industries. But the moment that we have a plan that would actually help aid and abet in that idea, such as giving mass amnesty to every single undocumented migrant in this country that's not committed a violent crime, so these millions of American workers can continue to work in our labor force and continue to pay taxes, which would aid and abet in being a more dominant force on the global stage. And we should just strip them of all their civil rights and liberties, strip them of human rights, say that we could disappear you to a kill cell. It is contradictory.
No, because the people that are getting shipped there are the ones that are associated with foreign terrorist organizations such as MS-13 and such
you have
as...
no evidence of that. Wait, we have not given these individuals due process, so you cannot say that with confidence.
our intelligence committees are the ones saying it. I'm not. I'm going to listen to people like the DEA, the DHS, and the ICE as far as like who they seem, because they have better intelligence gathering resources than we do.
Okay.
And if you are
I
a
want to
foreign
clarify.
terrorist,
Do you think that Donald Trump is a rapist?
no.
So let me get this straight. Donald Trump can be given due process inside of a civil court where over the course of 3 years, a jury determines unanimously that he's guilty of raping E. Jean Carroll. That's not enough evidence, okay? But if an undocumented
You look at the
migrant
evidence?
is if an undocumented, yes, I did. But if an undocumented migrant is assumed to be a member of MS-13 based upon what? Testimony, then that is enough evidence to send him to a kill cell for the rest of his life.
Well, hey, where he's at in El Salvador is because he's an El Salvadorian citizen, and that is the policy that they have at the moment. I would really encourage you to try to find somebody that lives in El Salvador.
You're completely changing the topic of conversation.
No, I'm
You're saying that
not.
we have enough evidence to believe that Garcias is a member of MS-13, but we don't have enough evidence to believe that Donald Trump is a rapist, even though Donald Trump was given due process and a jury unanimously determined his guilt. What jury unanimously determined Garcia's guilt?
Well, first of all, that was a civil court in Manhattan.
Which is significantly more due process than what for Garcias?
Garcia, like, he has protection orders of beating his wife, of driving aggressively with emotion.
Whoa! I've already responded to all this. I've already responded to all this, and you're still pivoting
but,
because I'm specifically asking for you the evidence that he's a member of MS-13. Are you
because
saying
I
every
looked at the
man
evidence
that does
of Trump's
something?
civil case.
Wait. So does this mean that Donald Trump? Okay, let's just assume that Garcia did beat his wife. Okay, which is very bad. So you're basically saying if a man harms a woman, they're a member of MS-13. So I want to make this clear because Donald Trump is a rapist. He's the leader of MS-13.
So Trump, I looked at the evidence, and there's nothing in there convinced me.
Trump is a member of MS-13 because he raped a woman.
No.
Yes.
No.
That was your argument.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it is.
You have to look at all the evidence. There's actual evidence.
Like what?
Like people that were in MS-13 with him that said he is a member, like his clothing that show he's wearing the exact clothing. He got arrested with a leader of the MS-13. The confidential informant even said his own rank. He got withholding of removal from rival gangs in El Salvador. So he came from gang life. He was with gang members, wearing gang clothing attire. He has court evidence.
Wait, I have a question. What is gang clothing attire?
So MS-13, it's known in El Salvador. They all wear Chicago Bulls.
Oh my God! You have to be kidding me! Wow! Everybody watching the stream, watch out! Okay, sees you. Okay, if a cop sees you with that on, you're getting disappeared to El Salvador for the rest of your life.
No, it's
you are
not
guilty,
that alone.
guilty.
Where there's
then also,
smoke, there's
you said that there
fire.
was testimony from somebody else that merely said he was a member of MS-13. What about the testimony from E. Jean Carroll, her therapist from the 90s, and 7 of her friends that all testified that Donald Trump raped her?
Okay, were they there?
Oh my God! Great.
It was his word versus her word.
Right.
And they were in a dressing room together.
Wait. So you're saying that if it's one person's word versus another person's word, it's therefore invalid and you don't have sufficient evidence? Well, it's Garcias's word versus the confidential informant's word.
Yes, but then he got arrested, running around throwing drugs under cars, wearing drug clothing, wearing Chicago Bulls.
Okay, I got to kick you for that because that's going to get the live restriction. But I just want to point out here that ultimately that view is just, it reduces down to like xenophobia and racism. Like I guess if you're Latin American and you wear a Chicago Bulls jersey, you're a member of MS-13 and you're wearing DRUG clothing. So we got to kick him just because that's going to get us a restriction and a violation.